Welcome to my 3-day winter survival adventure in the Nordic forest. I'm hiking out with my traditional camping gear, wearing a wool cloak and a sheepskin, my spear and some equipment hanging on top of the spear. It's a very beautiful scenery, a clear winter day, temperature about -5 degrees Celsius, and I'm hiking out a few hours into the forest to find myself a campsite. Here I have spotted a potential campsite. These cliffs and some kind of a cave is visible, so I head up and see what there is to find here. This half cave will be a very good location to start building a shelter. I sit down on my sheepskin and think for a moment, taking a look at what materials I can find around me, and then I get to work. When building a shelter in a forest I do not own, I make sure to use dead trees, dead materials, and nobody's gonna have trouble with me. And also, of course, it is good for nature that I do not run around cutting down trees to make a small house for myself to have some fun. I start building my shelter by gathering a lot of these thick dead branches, which are about 2 meters in length, so the shelter is gonna be big enough to even stand in. Now that I have built the main section of the wall, it's starting to look very good and cozy. I continue by grabbing some snow to further insulate and airtight the wall. When camping in a winter night, the most important thing for your shelter to start with is to have an airtight base so the cold wind doesn't blow on you when you try to sleep. Alright, now that the bare minimum of my shelter is complete, I go ahead and empty the inside of the shelter from snow, and then I add some of these branches, these dead dry branches, as insulation and mattress for sitting on. Inside my shelter there's a lot of room. I'm very happy. I can actually lay down and extend my full length and still stay inside of the shelter. So I'm looking forward to spending the night here. But now it is time to make a fire before that. Inside I actually found this very convenient fireplace, a small elevated stone area. And here I made my fire, and the smoke seems to be going out without hitting my face, so it's very cozy here and comfortable, even though I'm sitting inside a cave in the middle of the forest. With me I have this copper kettle and not so much water. But luckily there's a lot of snow here, and if I boil it, it's gonna be safe to drink. And I have some tea, so let's make the best out of this night. It is now day 2 in the morning, and some snow has been coming inside of the shelter. There's light snowfall in the morning, and now it is time to get back to work. It is time to get back to building this beautiful shelter. I need to make it more complete so that I can actually call it a winter survival shelter. As you can see, I'm wearing only a wool sweater without a jacket, and still I'm staying very warm, even a bit too warm. The secret is that I'm wearing 2 wool sweaters. Underneath I have a thin wool sweater, which is a very good combination. I'm staying very warm, and still the material is so breathable that I do not get moist when working. And if I get wet from some snow falling on top of me, that's gonna dry off very quickly, especially if I'm sitting near a campfire. Now I have gathered all the dead trees from around my campsite, so I'm heading out a bit further, walking in the very deep snow to find some more wood. The silence here, the solitude, it is very beautiful, even magical, and I'm very happy to find myself in such an environment. Alright, now that I have gathered a lot of wood, it is time to make a door frame and maybe a door later, so I do not get a lot of snow in during the night. Since I have all of this snow available, I don't need to build my walls very airtight. If I just shovel all of this snow up on the walls, it's gonna be pretty much airtight. I get a very good idea. I realized I can use the piece of wool I had as my bag. I can use this to make a door. To make the top of the door frame a bit more air and snow tight, I grabbed some of these branches from dead or alive trees and placed them on top of my log structure. And now it is time to test the door. So I take my piece of wool and somehow fit it in between my log structures so it stays there. Yes, that worked much better than I expected, and I think this is gonna be the most cozy shelter I've ever made. Now that I have sort of a door, there's not gonna be any wind coming inside and no snow coming inside during the night. I'm gonna be much warmer when I sleep, and I'm looking forward to night 2. And since I'm gonna make a fireplace now inside of the shelter, even with the door frame providing more protection than the last night, it's gonna become much warmer here inside. Perhaps it's gonna even become like +5 or +10 degrees on the inside, as long as I have the fire going. After just a few minutes of having the fire on, I feel much warmer and my hands are not cold anymore. I can sit here without having any gloves on and there is no problem. before making the fire, I was also a bit concerned if there's gonna be any drippage from the roof, water falling down on my head, but surprisingly, all of the water falling down is in some different location, not above me, so I stay very dry here. With me I have some steak. I'm gonna cook it slowly on the fire and have a very pleasant evening, filling my stomach and then getting a good night's rest. But of course I'm not the best at resting, so I decide to head out in the night to gather some more logs for improving my shelter. I want to make sure that it's snow tight in all areas, and the upper parts of the wall were a bit compromised still. So I'm gathering enough logs to have an entire row of extra wood on top of my wall. And on top of these logs I can throw as much snow as I want to, because the snow is not gonna melt even though I have the fire inside. The logs are gonna insulate enough so that the outer logs are not gonna be hot. and now it is time to go sleep. My sleeping bag is rated for about -10 degrees Celsius. So now that I am inside of my shelter, even with some residual heat from the fire, I'm gonna have a very cozy night, not getting cold at all. It is now day 3 in the morning. I wake up well rested, for I have slept at least 10 hours. It is so dark in the night, and the sun rises very late and falls very early, so the days are short and the nights are long. So if you're able to get a long sleep, if you're able to stay asleep for the entire duration of the darkness, then you're gonna have a very good rest. I'm now gonna prepare for my next journey coming back to this shelter. I head out into the snowy cold forest and gather more of these dry, dead trees and make a lot of firewood, plenty of firewood, for at least one sitting by the campfire, so I can sit down and relax the next time I arrive. I am now preparing my gear for the voyage home. I like carrying my stuff on this spear. It's a bit strange, but surprisingly effective if you only have what you need with you. Every time I return back from such a challenge, this survival adventure, to stay 3 days alone in the winter forest, I feel like a hero coming back home. This is an experience I would like to share with everybody. You feel refreshed in your purpose, you feel strengthened in your body, and you're ready to take on the challenges which are coming your way in life. I hope you as well, friend, can have adventures such as this. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and like to see the next video. We have many more adventures coming.